And we are off season 2. Pick Up Your Pace podcast. The boys are back, and we're here to stay. We got a new addition here. You might remember him from last year. The man, the myth, the legend, Carl Noble. Introduce yourself.
Guys, thank you so much for having me. Stoked to be back on the podcast, this time for the full season of Formula One. Pretty exciting first race, but we'll let you guys dive in. We'll get some good commentary here.
Mm-hmm. You know, last year the boys got along very well. Usually there wasn't too much contentious takes. I think that'll change with the addition of Carl here this year.
Wild card.
So it was a fantastic off season. Not a lot of movement, right? A lot of drama around bullshit, which with the ending, which who cares about that at this point? Max is the champion. He's number one on that car for a reason moving forward. And just as we ended last year, we picked off this year with another insane race. A lot of competitive driving, a lot of overtaking going on in this race. It was absolutely wild. We end up with the Ferrari 1-2. During the preseason, we think that Ferrari is going to be one of the fastest cars, if not the fastest car, but we didn't really know. This week, we proved it. Charles puts on a superb drive all weekend, Saturday and Sunday, ends up with the pole position.
Incredible. And I'm actually kind of bummed because I'll admit right off the bat, I did miss the race. So I've been watching nothing but highlights. I had a golf tee time. I had a tee time that just got in the way. However, first of all, insanely unfortunate for Red Bull. That's really like, I don't think that that's a telltale sign of what we're going to be looking at here for, I think that it was an unfortunate circumstance that they'll be able to fix, but Ferrari did not just come out and squeak their way into that, man. Like they were dominant. So, I don't know. I mean, it's early, it's the first race, but I think that's the battle we're going to be seeing most of the year. It's one of those two Ferraris and Max. That would be my guess.
Yeah. My thoughts, obviously, I'm the Red Bull guy. I'm going to be rooting for Red Bull. Somebody has to. I'm the world's most heartbreaking Sergio fan. Well, the latest I heard was that it was a fuel issue with both cars, as in they both ran out of fuel before the end of the race.
No way.
If they're running lighter fuel loads already just to keep up with Ferrari, I think that's a telltale sign of them being worried. And man, the Ferrari power unit. I mean, we saw Alpha and Haas scoring, and then we see Mercedes power unit at the bottom. But yeah, look out for Ferrari. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I think a telltale sign of how dominant Ferrari actually could be at this point is you have Carlos all weekend saying this has been a really tough weekend for me, yet putting up top 3 pole position, ending up in P2, and saying that he thinks he has a lot more to get out of this car. Same with Charles. And you have Max being on the opposite end of the spectrum, being very unsatisfied from this weekend. So definitely two teams that seem to be going in different directions right now.
We could see an inter-team Ferrari battle for the championship, really.
And that would be good for my insane bet that I put into the season for both these drivers to win. I am a Ferrari guy stand up, so there might be a little bit contention on that. This might be a for Red Bull for first Ferrari podcast all year, which I think will make for a good show. I will be rooting for Charles because that is the first guy that I love from Drive to Survive. So that's going to be my allegiance for the year on out here.
Absolutely, man. Carl, any thoughts on Max and Ferrari?
My computer died for some reason. It was on 6%. Regardless, old MacBook, whatever. Something that I think is key, and I'm going to be focusing more on Carlos Sainz of the driver duo down in Ferrari. I think Carlos definitely had some tough goes, especially in Monaco and his home turf last year. That was absolutely heartbreaking. But I think consistency is really what's going to stand out this season. And Charles had an amazing race. I mean, pole to P1, I mean, that's incredible. But I really think Carlos is the individual to really pay attention to all season. He's extremely consistent. And now that they're putting forth a car that is truly ahead of all the competition, I do believe that Red Bull's in the pace. they just had a bad weekend, bad luck. The battery system was failing. I
think, dude, if there's any truth to that fuel thing, that's new information I didn't know about. So if they were running lighter fuel to begin with, then that actually changes my thoughts on the whole thing. That's a problem.
Yeah, I think we don't know these things until 6 to 7 races in. We can't really tell what the gap is, because especially with this new generation cars, there's going to be so much development going on moving forward here. The next few weeks will be very telling as just, how much does Red Bull have to close the gap? How big is the gap? Same with Mercedes, who we haven't even mentioned yet. They come into testing and they do the same old shtick that they do every year, right? They completely downplay their car. Lewis says he thinks we have serious problems. Right now, we're not going to be competing for wins and podiums. Well, guess what? Sure enough, they end up in the podium, and it's due to a Red Bull issue. But I think they downplayed it a bit. Are they the third car? Yes. But how big that gap to Red Bull is, I think might have just been a little bit inflated in the testing.
I think those 6 weeks that you mentioned is all Mercedes needs. Yeah. I think that's all they need. And then we have a 3-team fight.
And I think the gap right now is relatively decent, but it's enough for the team over at Mercedes to overcome. And they have a large enough engineering team that they're going to be able to close that gap. And like you said, is it going to be a true 3rd-team fight until the very end? No. But I think at some point in this season with maybe, 10, 12 races left, we're going to be able to look at each other and say there is legitimately a shot that these 3 teams could win a championship.
Mm-hmm. Fun thing that I think, we know the Max and Checo pairing works extremely well for the Red Bull team. It'll be interesting to see that competitiveness now that Ferrari is more in the mix. But something that I thought was really interesting, I don't know if you guys know this, but the competitiveness between Lewis and George. Lewis this year registered himself as driver 2 for Mercedes. So we're seeing already some potential mind games.
Carl, what? He didn't register as driver 2. He just took on the yellow thing, which is typically driver 2, to match his yellow helmet. He's not driver 2.
I'm just going to comment on this, dude, because it's like, here's Lewis, a seasoned vet, playing mental fucking mind games with George Russell in his first season with Mercedes. I kind of love it.
I don't think I agree with you. I don't think it's an accident. I think it's exactly what it is it's some kind of mental mind game to just get people thinking, like, oh yeah, watch. I don't know. If you're telling me Lewis Hamilton is planning on taking driver 2 to George Russell, you're out of your mind. There's absolutely no way that dude is doing that.
I don't think he's going to have a choice towards the middle of the season if George catches up. Right now, it looks like Lewis still has the pace. He's more familiar with the car. We're going to see how this plays out. I really think we have no idea. This is George's, 2nd race in a Mercedes. Look what he did in his first.
And he did a fantastic.
We have a lot to learn. And I think it's
still very early, man.
I think we have some teams with some drivers right now who we can bring up in a bit here, where there's some drivers that are number 2 drivers right now, but we're going to see if that's the case at the end of the season, right? As Carl said, consistency is key. And there's a lot of guys who have a boatload of talent. My guy, Charles Leclerc, being main one of them, who can go in there, crush on a Saturday, but then on that last hot lap, spin the car out or do something crazy on race day. And then you have guys like Carlos who show up consistently, just put in solid results. So one of those teams, and out of the blue here, baby, who would have thought? The best story, I think, of F1 this year. Haas is back.
Yeah, I think we got to double down.
We're a bunch of fucking winners.
Haas
America's
is back.
Team.
Haas is back, and I think you can confidently say the 4th or the 5th best car on the grid after this race.
K-Mag is the best of the rest. He is. And if McLaren don't figure it out,
you can say that right now. It's a hot take.
Yeah.
We'll clip that. We will clip that, and we'll see how well it ages. But
I think the pairing of the Ferrari power unit with the extended period of development, Haas didn't invest in last year's car at all. They didn't invest $1 in. They've been working on this car for 2 years. They moved a facility to Italy to work closer to Ferrari's wind tunnel. So they have very close aerodynamics, same engines. I think that's a killer car. And I think it's going to kill these new regulations.
And there's no chance that if that Russian is still on that team, we get that result this weekend. There's no absolute chance. The mojo, and you can tell the energy around that team just by based off of last season's Drive to Survive. You know the weight on their shoulders, the pressure they felt every weekend, having that oligarch around their team. The weight off their shoulders they probably feel to have a familiar face around who could go in there and actually compete. The momentum that this team has moving forward is going to be able to do so much for this season.
Yeah. No, and I mean, what happens if Mick doesn't spin out too, man? You know what I mean? Like from Ocon hitting him, like, I mean, what are we looking at with Haas's results then? Well, I
think Mick's going to be, in my mind, like come up driver of the year.
If he could do, absolutely.
I think he got his. I mean, last year. I mean, look at what he was given last year. He was given pretty much. Here's the worst car on the grid. Take it. Oh, by the way, here's your teammate. Hope he doesn't crash into you. So and now it's like cool. You got Kevin Magnussen, pretty seasoned vet, great driver. Everybody knows him. Everybody likes him. He can kind of learn from this, but also, you got your dad, you got other connections, and you got your first season in Formula One under your belt, and you're still here. Time to put in the effort, time to put in the performance. Like guys like Lando, Charles, they're great. They came in, like the fact that Lando came into McLaren is just, he was so lucky to come into a fantastic car. I think this is a great opportunity for Schumacher. Simply, it's like, hey man, you came into this at the bottom of the barrel. Now you can start to work your way up, and the car's good this year. I think we're going to see some strong top 10 finishes out of Mick Schumacher this year. It's going to be sick.
It's going to be funny to see who has the better sophomore season, Yuki or Mick, by the end of the season. I think that'd be hilarious. Dude, I'm rooting for one of them. I'll tell you that much.
I'll tell you.
Go ahead, dude.
I think Zhou Guan Yu might have a better season than both of them, and that boy's a rookie. He's nice.
He's nice. That's a little side story. There's not a lot of hype around Zhou Guan Yu, but
both alphas scored. I mean, Valtteri. That's is great to see from Valtteri. I loved it. We'll see more out of them.
Alpha, like in the past, was just like that one team that I truly felt that nobody talked about. Like,
except you when you texted me saying Antonio Giovinazzi's underrated. Where is he at?
Dude, come on, man. Formula One Jesus, dude. Like, straight up, everyone, Williams had George Russell, and, everyone likes him. You had, our boy Gunther over at Haas. It's like you got that attention. Here's Alfa Romeo just like, hey, we're here. We're here. It's like,
it's like, who are you guys?
Stupid Italians. And it's like, boom, we're back, dude. Let's go.
So I guess a good exercise, right, is let's talk through top 10 teams first through 10, and then we'll get into the next race. So one, I think it's clear we have to say Ferrari, right? But you can substitute that with Red Bull, 1A, 1B, probably, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if we're going based off of the first week, it's pretty clear who's the number one team right now. Yeah.
We have to give it to them. They got to want to. We have to say.
Right. There's no, it's not up for debate.
4 is when things get interesting. Right now, I think we have to say Haas.
I mean, if we're saying scoreboard,
it's Haas or Alpha, right?
Yeah,
it's not McLaren.
It's not McLaren.
I'll tell you that. I'll tell you who it's not. Yeah,
no.
So I think that's one that you could debate Haas or Alpha, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
After that, it gets in. Are we going Alpha or McLaren?
AlphaTauri. I'm going to say right now.
Oh, I think you're missing.
I haven't looked into McLaren's issues enough to know what the hell is going on.
If Lando
I don't understand what's happening.
So technically right now they don't have enough downforce, but they also, the Mercedes power units, I mean, we saw the bottom six there's something wrong with the Mercedes power unit clearly with these regulations, but McLaren's issues were brake cooling, and it's very hot there even at night. And that with the downforce, I don't see them bouncing back this weekend.
Not in Saudi Arabia, yeah, absolutely not.
So you have Alpha and then you have McLaren.
I mean, our
if they can't fix that, yeah.
Next is
actually, where does Alpine fall in all of this?
Our 3, 4, 5.
You know what? Yeah,
all within a point of each other.
And I think I'm gonna put AlphaTauri above Haas, even though we saw what K-Mag did. Pure Gasly's better than that.
Yeah.
Okay. So you'll say AlphaTauri
100%, dude.
Yeah. So things get interesting, right? And then Alpine. So AlphaTauri, Haas are in that 4 or 5 range. McLaren
and I'll put Alpine and McLaren in that 4 and 5 range too, because Alpine double point scored and McLaren should be there, but they're really not.
And then clearly, the worst going to be Williams.
Williams had a great year last year. They were going into this year with so much momentum. They had the big balls dude on Drive to Survive. He's a great dude. Seems wicked energetic, and they're stinking. And Albon had a lot of hype too. It seems like a bad car. I don't know what they did wrong.
I mean, I think right now the failure of the weekend is Aston Martin.
Yeah.
I mean,
for sure. I agree, actually. Latifi
forgot about him. Yeah.
Dude, if you're Lawrence Stroll, you are pulling whatever hair you have out of your head because he just spent so much money. They just built a new facility.
Yeah, and their team principal left them to go join Alpine.
And dude, brutal weekend. And I mean, it makes me
poor
sad.
Seb.
I love Vettel. Everybody loves Vettel, dude. He's the favorite of everyone in Formula One. Everyone loves the guy. He shows up on a bicycle. Come on.
Yeah, so I think the one thing we can take away is right now we don't really know anything. We don't.
Yeah.
We still.
No, we don't.
We still don't know a lot about where these teams fall. We have so much more to take away. So it's hard to make predictions about this next race. I think it'll be a similar situation at the top, right? I think the rest of the board gets tricky to really figure out what's going to happen. But I think we know that it's probably going to be Red Bull and Ferrari on Saturday fighting for full position. And then Mercedes, we'll see if this weekend can they continue to close that gap to the top two. But I
mean, that's an interesting discussion, man. Like, can they? I mean, I don't know. Like, without a lot of shit happening, they're not finishing where they did.
And this is a tight time for you. It's not like we have two.
Right, exactly. Right.
So I think you can expect Red Bull and Ferrari fighting for the W, and then Mercedes. Let's see, is it a 4 or 5, or can they sneak another podium in there?
And I mean, this weekend the track. I mean, it's a wild track. We're back at Jeddah. And
fast.
I mean,
very fast.
Terrifying. It's a cage.
Well, and they've said, hasn't we? I mean, everyone's been talking about Red Bull's pace the entire time, even going into this weekend and everything. I mean, this is one theoretically, again, that Red Bull should be on top of, Yeah, like that would be my guess. I mean, it's obviously going to be close all year here between Ferrari and Red Bull from the looks of it after week 1, but this is one Red Bull should theoretically pull out. If they don't run out of fucking gas. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah, you got to think, they're ready to bounce back and get 2 guys on the podium here.
Yeah. And Max didn't seem incredibly concerned after that race either, to be honest.
No, it seemed like he was
more like he was like, all right, don't worry about it. We'll be back. Don't worry.
Yeah, he really stayed in that fight, and he said he was having steering and brake issues. So if they figure the car out, we're in for a great fight. And my man Sergio, some great wheel-to-wheel combat that was, swept under the rug with all the controversy. He had a carefree pass on Lewis in the second DRS zone after the front straight. Older tires with ease. So
yeah,
I'm excited.
Exactly.
I'm excited for a hungry Checo who is already caught up to speed in this car. We're not going to see last year's bullshit for the first half of the season. I hope so.
Yeah, I think we probably know that as of right now, it's Charles and Max, and then it's can Lewis catch up to them when Mercedes gets that car up to speed, and then who that fourth driver out of all those cars is going to be very, very interesting. So
Carlos is going to be in there, man. I'm telling you, I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing Charles and Carlos swapping here in those Ferraris.
I want to see it.
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. I mean, I'm a big Carlos guy.
I think it's going to be a competitive year between those top three teams, and then the drivers within those teams going against each other is going to be very competitive. You know, essentially the only team where I think it's a clear 1-2 right now is Max and Sergio.
Agreed. I think they just want the constructors.
Yeah.
Well, and Max world championship, but I think Sergio knows he's not going to be a world champion.
Yeah. He knows he's got the flying Dutchman ahead of him.
He gets paid the big bucks to not be the world champion.
Exactly.
The kid's
he's like, good, I'm fine.
I think he knows that.
Yeah.
So let's get into predictions for the Saudi Arabian GP here. What do we got for maybe a top 6 kind of like fringe guy sleeper that might sneak in this weekend? Maybe somebody might be bouncing back. Carl, I'll let you marinate.
Can I go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep.
Give me Mick Schumacher again.
Top 6.
Whoa. Give me a top 6 Haas. Or no, I'm sorry. I meant to say Kevin Magnussen. I was thinking Haas and we were talking about.
Okay.
Can I say Kevin Magnussen? No, still same team, but no, I want Kevin Magnussen top 6.
I love that.
This isn't an accident.
I got Pierre. Easy bounce back week for Pierre. He should be in top 6 consistently. He's going to be hungry after a DNF. He needs some points. He's coming after Sergio's job, so he needs some points.
Yep.
I'm going to take Fernando Alonso.
Love that pick.
Yeah.
Hey.
I'm going to go crazy.
The car's it's fast. They score good points. Esteban Ocon, yeah, nice guy.
Nice guy.
Like, dude, you're not a world champion. All right.
No.
Fernando Alonso is absolutely cutthroat.
2-time world champion.
And I think, dude, it's a fast track. It'll be cool. I think we're gonna see him in 6th, maybe in like a P7, P8 spot on the grid, and he moves up 2 spots.
Okay, there we go. I like that. I'm gonna go crazy here, given the car that he's in. I'm gonna go Lando. I think there might be something wild that happens this weekend, and he sneaks up there. He's gonna be. That's for sure.
I bet Lando to score points last week, and you're smoking crack. That car is not sniffing top 10.
We will see.
Oh man!
I had to go crazy. I can't take one of your picks, so I got stuck with the last one. I took.
No, I hear you. I mean, listen, dude. No one would like to see that happen more than me, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, you'd like to see them be rather competitive.
You want to see McLaren competitive here. I mean, ideally, we'd have a 4-way battle here, but
it doesn't seem like it's gonna happen.
They've been hurting since Lewis left, and then they finally seem to have figured it out last year. And if they go 6 steps in reverse, they're screwed.
So I'm gonna take my podium.
We're gonna see Valtteri Bottas beat George Russell this weekend. We're gonna see it.
Oh my god!
It's gonna happen.
That's a bold take, Carl. That's a bold.
I don't think it's that bold,
dude. It's not out of control, but I don't know. I'm a big George Russell guy, so I don't want to see that happen. But
I believe it. All right, I'm gonna give my podium first. We're gonna go Carlos P3, Charles P2, Max comes against the dub this weekend.
Yeah. I'm that actually is right around where I was thinking. I was thinking that a Merc might find their way just in there again, but it's definitely for me Max 1. I'm gonna go Carlos 2 this week and Charles 3.
Off Ferraris.
That's my thing. I just have always felt Carlos on those longer tracks, a little more of a consistent driver, I think. But we'll see. Charles drove his ass off last week, so
I have Sergio Perez winning the race,
Carlos
Sainz coming in second, and Lewis Hamilton podium again. Because
So
I think Max
I was
and,
stuck between
Charles
that,
are
dude.
you. That's what I was gonna say.
yeah.
You think they're
Kamikaze's happening this early? Yes.
I'm on board with that, Hoove. I'm thinking something similar along that. I mean, I'm gonna put like runner up. I'm gonna put. I think Lewis will end up in like 4th. I do see Max and Charles being super aggressive this weekend, and fast track tire management. They're gonna see some abuse. I think this is gonna be an area of like, hey, who can handle these tires the best in these corners at these kind of speeds? So I think, seeing drivers like Checo and Carlos in a 1-2 spot, I can't really pick who's going to be there, but I think those two are going to take 1-2. And I mean, I think I really kind of fear for Max. I think a lot of spotlight is on him. There's a lot of stress right now to perform. And like this weekend was just, it was pulled away from him and it sucks. But I think, I see Max pushing the limit because he knows he needs to make up those points. And I kind of foresee a mistake happening. Hopefully nothing serious. And I see Charles in 3rd.
I mean, if you think about it too, man, I mean, in the past couple of years, at least since we've been watching, Charles is up there in top 3, top 4, most aggressive drivers on the grid. You know what I mean? Like consistently. And so now you put him in a car that's battling with Max, the most aggressive driver. Like we could see a lot of that all season,
Yeah,
it'd be
interesting to see
that'd be a gift.
These kids that grew up together going at it, would be
right. Exactly.
Be pretty wild.
Charles is no scrub, dude. That kid's, he pushes balls to the wall. So
yeah,
there's history there. It was a racing incident. That video.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Danny Rick this weekend.
It's gonna be.
What did you say?
Where do you put Danny Rick?
P17.
I was gonna say somewhere bottom 5 for sure. I don't think he squeezes out at 15. I really don't. Which sucks.
Need to figure it out. Yeah,
it's way out, man. If you can't start making some changes,
I'm gonna end the podcast.
And dude, after this weekend, it's Australia.
You
don't want to.
I don't like that. I want him to be. He needs to be doing better by Austria. He can't. If he doesn't crack top 15 in Australia, then that's a low point. That's a really, really, really low point.
I fear for the guy.
I don't know if we come back from that.
It's going to be an electric fast weekend.
It's going to be an electric fast season. I'm very, very excited for this season. It's really hard to follow up a season where the two lead drivers are tied going into the last race. So we're going to see. I think there's going to be a lot more parity between teams this year and a legitimate 3-team fight. So that's something that I don't think has happened for a very long time in F1.
I don't know if this is unpopular opinion, but I'm just going to say it. I think the new big ass tires and wheels look freaking good.
I think they look sick, dude.
Great opinion,
That's not unpopular.
Midnight club days, dude. Like throw the 30s on that thing.
Dude, they look like spaceships ripping around. I love them.
It's cool. I think the cars look sick.
I love the car.
Yeah, I like the following. I like how quick they are together. DRS still works. There's just no real toe anymore. But I think last week showed us that it's definitely easier to follow. So it's better racing to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This season's for the fans.
They definitely look a little slower on TV. I don't know if you guys thought that, but I don't know.
We'll see.
I don't know. See, I was shanking balls into the woods, so I missed it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will see you guys next week. Let's have a race.
Let's go.
Let's go, Bottas! Woo!